If you're anything like most people in the world, you're probably already deep into thinking about your New Year's resolutions. Whether it's eating better, locking in more, reducing your screen time, or maybe even perfecting your deck. Today, I'm going to be sharing 10 New Year's resolutions that I have made specifically about Flesh and Blood, so that hopefully in 2025 I can become a better player. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Liv or TNTCG, and I make content about the card game Flesh and Blood. If you're a beginner or a new player, this video also doubles as suggestions for getting better at the game and how to play and practice more effectively, as well as what mistakes to avoid as a Flesh and Blood beginner. As always, disclaimer, I am not a pro and not an expert. These are just my ideas about how I can get better at playing the game. If you have suggestions for other New Year's resolutions or you think any of mine are trash, please let me know down in the comments because I'd love to hear your thoughts. This video is going to be split into 5 general things and then 5 skill things. So if you're more interested in specific Flesh and Blood skill development, feel free to skip to the second half of this video. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. My first resolution is the most New Year's resolution-y, and it is to organize my card collection. It is crazy how fast a card collection builds up, so I have bought these storage containers to hopefully keep myself organized over the coming year. I find the best way to keep cards from stacking up is to sort by class, then by card, and then by color. It takes a while, but if you set up your collection this way, you won't end up with 6 or 7 of the exact same card just sitting around and taking up space. If you are short on space, you can always sort by rarity as well, throwing out the commons and keeping the rares. For Majestics, I like to keep them in this giant binder, and I ask myself whether I really need this super specific Majestic. If the answer is no, then it goes in my trades binder and I take it to Armouries and events with me. The second resolution is to make regular Armouries a part of my schedule. If you know me, you know I went through a phase of trying to attend every single Armoury, and I actually did that for a while, and it was like 6 per week. Unfortunately, that ended up costing me hundreds of dollars in petrol and entries, and I got so behind on work and study that I had to actually skip Armouries for a while in order to catch up on everything. So this year I'm going to make an effort to attend just 1 to 2 regular Armouries per week and not fill up every single weekday with Flesh and Blood. This way I have a life outside fab. Crazy, I know, but still be practicing regularly and going to Armouries, which I really love to do. The third one kind of carries on from this, but having a fab budget is essential. This year, when Aurora came out, I immediately bought up every single card, including her Lightning Greaves for $100, Gone in a Flash for $40 each, Current Funnel for $30 each, Arc Lightning for $20 each, and in the end, I spent over $400 just to play Azuri at the ProQuest. Anyway, for 2025, I am not going to do that. That might mean that I end up borrowing some expensive cards, which I already do, or end up proxying at casual events. Just be mindful that if you are proxying, it isn't technically legal. Usually if you ask, people are okay with it, but if your local game store or judge or even your opponent says no, make sure you have cheaper versions of the cards that you're proxying to use instead. Fourth is to hold my own events. I love to host events with my friends at my house, whether it's board games, brunch, craft days, or even just chilling out, but I haven't really done that many card game evenings, but I am definitely going to try and get some of my non-TCG friends into the game. I'm not going to try and pressure them into building their own competitive decks right at the start, which has been my mistake in the past, but just teaching them enough to play around the table with me is definitely on my bucket list. And finally, for my generic resolutions is to treat every game like the first game. One of my friends recently asked if losing over and over again makes me feel stressed, and I said no because I don't really think that it did. And in some ways that's true. I really don't mind losing, especially if I'm testing out a new deck or playing against a really good player. But I noticed that losing 2 or 3 times in a row meant that I was making worse and worse decisions as my games went on. I noticed recently as well that when I get paired against a really good player, I tend to say things like, "This game will be really fast," or "There's no way that I'll win this game." But these things aren't really true, and that kind of thought process was actually keeping me from making good decisions throughout the games, which also kept me from utilizing opportunities I got to play against these really good players and learn. So this resolution is to treat every game like it's the first game and always put my best foot forward. Resolution number 6 is to always ask for feedback after the game. I used to do this a lot when I was first starting out, but I kind of lost the habit as time went on. But I saw a guy recently at one of the local armories that actually brought a notebook and wrote down his misplays, which seems like a lot, but honestly, I think that's a really good idea, especially because when I would ask for feedback, I'd forget it within like the next 5 minutes. Asking for feedback isn't just about finding out what you did wrong. Whether it's asking a fellow player how you can tighten up your deck or asking for tips on gameplay, feedback is truly useful. 7th is to finally learn how to sideboard. In Flesh and Blood, sideboarding can be the key to turning a match in your favor. Mastering the sideboard means knowing what cards to bring in, what to take out, and the tricks to outsmarting your opponent. Sideboarding isn't really about countering your opponent's deck, it's about tailoring your strategy to fit any specific matchup. Maybe using extra disruption against an aggro deck, or extra defense against a guardian. Understanding when to adjust your game plan can be a game changer. To do this, I'm going to study up on the strategies and common builds of meta heroes, which will probably require looking at their deck lists and testing them out online, as well as making sure I get reps into them. This will mostly be a job for Talishar, but also engaging in casual play with my friends who play these heroes. My 8th resolution follows on from this and is to actually playtest. Looking at how pros such as Michael Hamilton, Brody Spurlock, and Yuki Lee Bender prepare for big events like Worlds and Callings, it's pretty clear that playtesting is crucial for improving as a player. Importantly though, it's necessary to approach playtesting in a focused and intentional way, rather than just playing your deck over and over, which is a trap that I've fallen into in the past. Each time I play a game, I'm going to focus on a clear objective, like seeing how whatever deck I'm using plays into super aggro, looking at whether switching out specific cards actually makes a difference, what cards I can get out, and which are more of a struggle. By setting mini goals like this, you'll be able to identify and evaluate your strengths and weaknesses more efficiently. The advice I got on this was to ask myself, what do I want to learn today, and to go from there. I'm also going to try to record my games more, practice with people of different skill levels, and take notes to really figure out what's going on. Playtesting like this, especially when you're preparing for some sort of big event or tournament, is exhausting. Focusing for long periods of time trying to get the best results can be tough, and it's easy to check out and just start going through the motions of play. Sometimes after uni or work, analyzing games when I get home is impossible. That's why this year I will be drinking Eliksir, the sponsor of this video. It's a drink that gives me a long-term boost without a crash and has no sugar and no caffeine, but more B vitamins than regular energy drinks. Eliksir keeps you focused and energized so you can focus on your games and make the most of your playtesting. You can get 20% off your New Year's order by using my code LIVE20. My 9th resolution is something that I've been trying to work on, but often I just give up and get frustrated, and that is paying attention to my opponent. The amount of times I've used a siren call with new only to completely forget what they've shown me, or a weakest link only to forget what's in their hand is too many to count. And that can be really detrimental because the next turn I'll end up overblocking, or on the other hand, underblocking something where Channel Lightning is gonna come hit me and, you know. Also, when my opponent or even me flips over the top card with Ravenous Rabble or reveals something with a trounce, that is such valuable information that by not remembering is really going to waste. You could know exactly what Azuri is swapping in, or whether that one floating and tunic counter up means that you're about to get pummeled. And knowing these things can have a significant impact on the flow of the game. The best players know what's going on and, more importantly, what to do with that information. Finally, and most importantly, crucially and significantly, the most critical, pivotal, and major resolution of all. In 2025, I will not forget to tick up my tunic counter. Thank you guys so much for watching as always. I hope this video has helped you think about your Flesh and Blood plans this year. If you found this video useful at all, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more Flesh and Blood content. I'll see you guys in the next one.